everybody, welcome to another episode of Classic Gaming Brothers. I'm Zach.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Barry.
And we are the Classic Gaming Brothers, and this is the Premium Edition Lounge. We are joined again by Barry from Premium Edition, and he's going to be telling us all about their most recent series. So Barry, how have you been doing?
I've been doing great. I feel like I've been on this show enough times for us to get this right, you know?
What? Yeah, you've been on an Indie Dev Lounge, at least one, maybe two. This is your second Premium Edition Lounge, so that's
and then a regular
episode, and then a regular episode. Yeah,
a regular episode.
But I think you have been on our show more than any of our other guests for sure.
You're basically like a special guest star at this point. Like if we had credits, we would credit you. So it'd be like starring Zach and Seth with special guest Barry, and even when you're not in the episode, you'd still be credited.
We still write you a check for being a credited actor.
Anyway, before we get into your whole spiel and such, let's vibe a bit. What have you been playing lately? Any games that have been pulling your interest?
Well, there's some that I can't talk about, but of the ones I can, just finished Atelier Ryza 3, phenomenal game, great series. I did the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, phenomenal game. Short but sweet, absolutely amazing. Then did Trinity Trigger, which is like the spiritual successor to Secret of Mana. The graphics look like N64, but it's got like full A-list voice actor ensemble, and it plays really well. It's a lot of fun. And it is multiplayer, which is great.
Oh, cool.
And now I'm doing Shadows Over Loathing, which is the sequel to West to Loathing, and it's great. It's just like the first one. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And that's what I've been playing that I can talk about, other than games we will be talking about later in this episode. I have been playing those, just part of that hype, and we'll talk more about those in a bit.
Yeah. I Trinity Trigger looks really good.
It is a lot of fun.
I'm looking at the screenshots now, and I'm a huge Secret of Mana fan.
Oh, then yes, you need to play this.
Yeah.
It's got the wheel with the different weapons you could switch between and everything. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it also makes me want to replay Secret of Mana, so I will probably be doing that later today.
You said later today, and it's like night.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, you did just wake up from your. I did just take
a 90-minute nap, so I'm feeling very refreshed. Refreshed enough to play a JRPG. Well, Barry, for our listeners out there, for those who are new to the show, can you remind everyone about Premium Edition games, what they do, and who you are and what your role is?
For those of you that don't know or have never seen me on the show before, I am one of the founding members of Premium Edition Games, and I have multiple roles within the company, such as customer service, developer outreach, doing things like we're going to talk about, like writing the direct, just trying to keep things under schedule and just help out wherever I can, because we wear many hats. The entire team is a phenomenal team, and everybody pulls their weight in multiple different categories, which is awesome. But what we do at Premium Edition is we take digital-only titles and we bring them out in high-quality physicals, and we do our best to have them complete on card or disc so that they're preserved in the most complete way we can do it. And it also helps shine light on a lot of titles that people forget about or never even hear about, because there's just too many games released, period, and it's just impossible to hear about them all or play them all.
You guys do your directs, which are these YouTube videos where you go through kind of the upcoming games. Remind me, because I know you used to release them as series, but it looks like you kind of transitioned over to, like, you have the fall direct, you have the spring direct now. So are you not really referring to them as like series?
We're still referring to them
like
as series internally and with the fans, but we've noticed that some people who haven't heard of us, like at conventions, they get confused. So we're like, well, if they won't know what Series 5 is, but if we say, well, this just came out in fall of 2022, okay, like I know fall 2022. So we translated it a little bit that way with the directs. We tried to do it that way, but they're absolutely still, called series, and that's how we'll still refer to them within the community. Just for the more general audience that hasn't heard of us yet, just makes it a little more digestible.
I think that's a really valid adjustment, because I feel like sometimes when you're in the thick of things, you refer to things like internal jargon, and internal jargon doesn't always translate to the end consumer. And to your point, like, you could completely confuse somebody if you're like Series 5 and blah, blah, this and that, and referring to the seasons is definitely like something that can really ground people. So I think that's a really good transition transition.
That's why this is the spring 2023. It's, people know, when did that happen? Oh, it happened in spring, and it is more digestible. And it also, because we go slowly, we can do that because we're gonna release games based on the seasons.
Now, getting into the Direct. So you guys announced your games that are up and coming, and you had kind of 3 major releases and another announcement that came along, and then, of course, the special announcement. Do you want to talk about those 3 games that you kind of focused on in the Direct?
So the first game that we released for pre-order that's available right now is a game called Super Dungeon Maker, which is the equivalent of the Zelda Maker we all begged Nintendo to make after Mario Maker came out in the Wii U, and they never did. And because they never did, talented people over at Fire Chick said, "All right, we'll do it." And they've been working on this game for a long time now, perfecting it, and it's still being updated. It's still, being fine-tuned. This did come out last year in early access on Steam, so they've been fine-tuning it there before the Switch launch, and it actually launches today. As of the recording, it launched today for the Switch. So we actually had our pre-orders up before it was even digitally available. But the cool thing about Super Dungeon Maker is not only can you make dungeons, and when I say make dungeons, it's completely up to you. It's not like Link's Awakening on the Switch. It's not square preset rooms. You could draw the shape of the room. You could put whatever you want in there. You want bushes. What do you want to come out of the bushes? Do you want triggers and traps and any type of door and keys and boss keys and special items? You set all that, so you make the dungeon you want. And what's really cool is it's not even just one floor. It's up to 7 floors you can make this dungeon, and it's not just like, oh, it's just another screen. It legit builds them on top of each other, so you can have a dungeon where you have to drop down onto a previous floor, just like in Zelda, and it works just like that. So it's extremely well done. The cool thing on top of building, even if you're not a builder, is first off, there's pre-made dungeons from Fire Chick in the game that you can play, but then there's a whole community, and it is cross-platform with Steam, so you can go onto the server and play. I think there's like 3,000 plus already created dungeons that you could just access right now, and you can choose to just play them, and if you like them, you could download them to your Switch, so you could play them offline. And then, of course, you could upload yours, and it gets rated just like that. You get a code. You could take that code and say, here, I want you guys to try my dungeon. Let me know how it is. So it has a great community aspect. It's got a very active community within it. There's people creating some incredible dungeons, and we're excited to see what people come up with and task us with playing, like on our stream and stuff. This is an awesome game, and we're honored to be able to do this, because the fact that Nintendo is allowing this on the Switch tells me they're not making a Zelda Maker anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
Right.
this is it. This is your Zelda Maker. This is what you're getting. You might as well enjoy it, and it truly does play like Minish Cap. Link to the Past is awesome.
Yeah, and it's also kind of has like an aesthetic of that I've noticed. I mean, beyond the fact you're not playing as Link, you're playing as a chicken.
You're playing
But
as a chicken.
just the like the cell shading and the art style reminds me so much of like Minish Cap, especially.
Oh yeah.
I really like the community aspect of it as well. Like being able to just see all those pre-made dungeons before is just like cool, because you can really like, I'm sure there's going to be like those dungeons that are like normal, and then there'll be like the extreme dungeons that are designed by people who want to just punish each other, just like Mario Maker.
Oh, of course.
I don't know if you mentioned it. Do you know if the game's cross-platform? Because
Yes.
it is. Okay, so like, let's say for example, I want to play it on my Switch Lite, but Seth would prefer to play it on a Steam Deck.
Absolutely. The whole game is cool. And the server. So you would be able to take your Switch Lite, put the card in, boot it up, go on there, and find Seth's dungeon that he created on the Steam version, for example.
Nice. Okay, that's really cool.
It is, yeah. And obviously Steam's not getting a physical versus Switch, which is getting a physical.
Right.
The nice thing about it is, some people might say, well, what happens when the server eventually dies? Because eventually all servers do. And the unfortunate thing is you will not be able to access the pre-made dungeons unless you previously downloaded it. However, you can still send the codes, if that server goes down, then at least you can still create dungeons, play the pre-made ones that are on there, and share it with people locally. But, that's just an unfortunate side to games like Mario Maker. It's the same thing. But since the Switch is doing so well, that's not happening anytime soon. And this is one of those where even if the servers eventually did go down, you just wanted to create, you like, I just have a really cool idea, you will always be able to do that. You will always be able to create your own dungeon and then share it locally with your friends and be like, all right,
Yeah,
try
yeah.
this out. And that's
Yeah,
awesome.
there's still like a local aspect of the game, and it doesn't solely rely on online, which is
Correct.
honestly just something that's just nice to always have. That like games like forcing online connectivity can just be annoying.
Yeah, and in this case, the online components are necessary. It helps the game. It allows more people to enjoy it. And I think, when you're, right now Tears of the Kingdom is coming up, so Zelda's really hyped up, and maybe you're like, well, I don't want to get into a Zelda-like game before Tears of the Kingdom. But after Tears of the Kingdom, you might be like, oh, you know what? That's when I want to do it. And you know what? That's when we'll have these games shipped out. So you could do the pre-orders now.
I also feel like Super Dungeon Maker is more akin to classic Zelda.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like there's definitely a difference between classic Zelda and like Breath of the Wild Zelda. It's just even me, like sometimes I'm in the mood to play like Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time, and sometimes I'm just in the mood to play the NES version
Yep.
of the top-down Zelda,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is what I feel like if I'm in that mood, Super Dungeon Maker would like scratch that itch versus like my Breath of the Wild itch.
Oh yeah, and it's also more bite-sized because you could just choose, I'm gonna just do a dungeon or two, and of course they are varying length. And you could do some complicated things like the sliding block puzzles that are in so many Zelda dungeons. You can make those. You could change the terrain to ice so that it's slippery. You can make it ground. There's so many things. You go to bosses in every room if you wanted to. Like you could just go ham and have fun with it, and you could write your name in a dungeon. You have to go through the letters of your name. Like it really allows you to just have fun.
It's like The Sims, where you just spend more time creating the house instead of actually playing the game.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, if in that case, when you create it, it's the joy of watching people play it and
Yeah,
tackle it and see how many
fair.
they
Yeah.
finish it and rate you and all that stuff. And that's all there. Like just like Mario Maker, they copied Mario Maker's like rating system and all that stuff, so you can see,
Yeah.
which is nice. You can go in, you can see how people create things. And if you look at like some complicated dungeons, like there's triggers, there's tags, it's programming, but it works really well on the Switch. I was making some, working on some dungeons on the Switch, and it was like, oh yeah, this works really well. And I only did it docked with the Pro controller, so I haven't done it handheld, with the touch and all that stuff. So it's probably even easier.
So next, you guys also announced another game.
Yeah, we announced another Switch game which just went up for pre-order a couple days ago, which is Wife Quest. And Wife Quest is this hilarious 2D platformer from Pippin Games and East Asia Soft, where you play the titular wife, Mia, who's on her quest to save her husband Fernando from all these women creatures that just want his attention. They're jealous of their very happy marriage. And she's pissed off and frustrated and takes it out on everybody, which is so cool to see because we all play those 2D platformers where an enemy hits you and knocks you back into a pit and kills you and you get frustrated. And in this game,
Yeah.
it allows you to not only kill the enemy, but then brutally finish them off Mortal Kombat style. Every
Nice.
single enemy gets a fatality. You could choke them to death, you can rip off their wings, you can stomp on their backs, you can break their legs, and you see their souls like leave the body. Like you are legit killing them. It is hilarious. It gives you no ability. Like there's no benefit other than unlocking the animation and for your own sadistic pleasure of, taking out that enemy that pissed you off. It is great. It is so much fun. And it's got some elements of Mega Man because each of the bosses you get a power up. It's got some RPG elements where you could get permanent upgrades. It's got collectible and completionist elements where every level tells you your percentage of everything in the level, and you can go back after you're more powered up to complete it. And it's like permanent upgrades, which is great. Like the sword gets upgraded like Strider, so you swing and it's just like this big blast goes out. It's so much fun, and it's hard. Like the levels themselves are challenging, and they do progressively get more challenging, but the bosses get extremely challenging, and that's really where I fell in love with, like, oh, this is not a pushover. And of course when you beat it, you get new modes, you get a mini game bonus, you get go back and complete and unlock everything. It's just a fun game. I played this for review. In fact, the East Asia Soft did a showcase. They showed it off. I wasn't sold. I was like, oh, this game, it looks good, but I'm not sold on it. And one of our other people at Nintendo Fuse was like, well, I'm getting a code, it looks great. And I said, well, I don't want you to do the review alone, I'll do the review too. So I got a code.
Yeah.
I played 2 levels. I called East Asia Soft. I'm like, is this game available? This game is great. I couldn't put it down. I was addicted to this game. It's so much fun. If you like 2D platforming games, action adventure style, with RPG elements, like you would be just doing yourself a disservice to not play this game. It's so good.
It's got like a really like cutesy, almost chibi art style as well with the characters.
Which
It's
makes
a
the
really
deaths even funnier.
Kind of reminds me of like a cross, like you said, Strider with the blade, but also the Monster World games.
Yes, yes, very much so.
Yeah. I was playing through the Dragon's Trap Wonder Boy, the remake, and the way the character holds the sword
Yep.
behind them as they run, that's straight out of Monster World.
Oh yeah, and it plays just as well, which is the best part. Like it has those elements. This is classic to a T. It really is an homage to that, yesteryear of gaming, and it does it extremely well. It's not just an homage to be an homage. Like they utilize it.
It definitely looks like a fun game. I like the art style a lot. That kind of very like chibi style, but also knowing that there's these violent takedowns that occur, like it makes that just all the better.
And like they show some in the trailers and stuff that we showed off, but like the sound effects, everything, you hear them like getting choked out. It's kind of counterbalances the cutesy chibi nature of the graphics, but I think that's part of what makes it so much better. It's just funny. It plays well. It's great. You have this wholesome story really, because this is a loving marriage. People hear the title and like, oh, what is it? A guy going off looking for a wife, and it's like, no, it's a wife trying to go on a quest to save her husband, and they have a very good relationship, and it's just funny because it's like, hey, you know what? Give me back, give me back my man.
Beyond the Switch games, one of the last times we had you on here, we talked about your guys' expansion into the homebrew scene of like NES games, physical, with Ore Body, and you're doing another. I saw Bobby 6-7.
So that's going up for pre-order here in just over a week, and Bobby 6-7 is an NES aftermarket game from Clay of Cal Games. This is a 2D platformer, time-traveling adventure where you're a cop and you've got to go through time to stop a half man, half fish from changing all the traffic lights to green, and you got to save your job in the process so you can't get fired. It is hilarious. Plays extremely well, and this plays on your NES. This is an NES cartridge. This will go into your system, so it plays within the limits, not like Shovel Knight, which looks like an NES game but will never run on an NES. This is the NES limitations, and what's cool is this game was made. It's an aftermarket game like you mentioned, and there is a ROM, like he has the ROM up. But what's cool about this is not only is it a physical, but he went back to the ROM and he added stuff that's exclusive. He's not putting it out into the actual ROM. That's the only way to play this, the complete version of the game, is through the physical. He wanted to do something special. And these ones are made in limited numbers because, it's a different scene than Switch. When we did Ore Body Binder's Tale, it sold out extremely quickly. So we did a second printing of Ore Body, and that sold out extremely quickly. So we're doing a special silver version of this as well, like we did Ore Body, and those are even more limited than the standards. And we just do this for fun. It's like, what, we understand there's not millions of people that are still playing the NES, but we also know that there's very talented developers out there that still love the NES and still programming on it, and we want to give them the same attention we're giving everybody else. So we're happy to be working with them and bringing this out physically for the NES.
I feel like we're still in like a resurgent of like retro collecting, and like when we went to PAX, we had
I bought so many
Zach
homebrews
he only bought NES games. I think he bought 5 NES games or something like that. 3 at least.
4.
4.
Yeah.
4 in one convention. I could definitely see how like it's worthwhile to get it, dabble into it, as it were.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this the last time when you were on, but it's a different process to get the cartridges made versus the Switch Switch cartridges. Do you have a preference in like which do you think is more interesting? Or
Switch goes through Nintendo because it's proprietary.
Right.
So there's higher minimums. We talked about Switch is 5,000 minimums in the US. They have to manufacture it themselves and they send it off to our assembler. We have like the manuals come from the person doing the manuals and the slip covers covers, from the slip cover,
Yeah.
etc. It's all different people. They go to our assembly plant and they get put together. And in order to assemble it, it has to be a Nintendo approved plant. So you can't just say, oh, ship it
Yeah.
to my house and I'm going to assemble 5,000 of them. Nintendo
Yeah.
will be
Right.
like, no, this
Ugh.
has to be a Nintendo approved facility. So once it goes there and is assembled, then it gets shipped to our warehouse, and our warehouse will then, ship it out to everybody else. With the NES, Nintendo has nothing to do with it. This is
Right.
aftermarket stuff. So instead, it gets shipped right to us in the pieces, and like Ore Body was all assembled by Jeff. Like everything, he,
Yeah.
unfolded the boxes, and he put the cartridge in the dust sleeve and in the box with the manual
Yeah.
and folded. And then once it's that, then shipped to our actual shipping, our warehouse, and they're shrink wrapped. So we did that all internally, and it's obviously it's less quantity, but it's even more work because we don't have other people doing it. So we're doing it ourselves. But that's part of what Premium is. We're a passionate group of people. We're
Yeah.
doing this for the love of gaming, and we want to give the NES, just because someone makes a game for the NES instead of the Switch doesn't make them any less special. And we give them equal billing as everybody else, because that's how we roll as a company. We want them to be, treated as such. And we understand some people have no interest in getting an NES game, and that's fine. But there's a ton that are interested in it, and we want to, we cherish our relationships we have with all the developers and publishing partners that we work with, and that includes NES developers as well. So we're honored to be working with Cal Games on this. We think it's a great title. Like the Switch, we play the games, and we play the ROMs. In this case, we play the ROM of it, test it out. We loved it. We said, yeah, let's do this physical. We think our audience will really like it, and we hope you all will enjoy it when it comes out. So that goes out here shortly for pre-order. Those, like I said, those are even more limited than anything else. We do have the mega packs that are available right now on the website, so you can actually pre-order it right now. The mega pack includes all 3 of these games, one and done. Click and you're good to go.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think the thing about, like you said, I think it's such a special thing that you guys do these NES games, because there are definitely developers out there who probably would like to have their homebrew on the NES, and people like you, Premium Edition Games, offer that opportunity. Obviously, the game has to appeal to you. It has to be a game that you want to be like, we want to sell this game. But at the same time, theoretically, that could be your game. Out there, a home brewer who's listening to this episode, your game could be the one that they choose next. And it's not an easy feat to get these games made on the NES. I mean, especially for someone who doesn't have the resources. So yeah, I just think it's a neat thing that you guys are doing it. Bobby 67 looks very appealing to my sensibilities. Just be the kind of like the comedy aspect of it, but also just the aesthetic of it.
So I know there's no PlayStation releases with this particular wave, but you have done PlayStation releases in the past. Is it a similar process dealing with Sony, or are they different in regards to how dealing with Nintendo?
I mean, they're both different in their own unique way. I mean, Sony has lower minimums, which is nice, but it's different because if we were doing standard Sony, like standard blue case, disc
Yep.
inlay, it's a different avenue than what we're going, because we're doing steelbooks, and Sony assembles them. Like Sony does all that. So we're working with Sony, like, no, you got to put the CD in there as well, and you got to put the manual in there and the challenge card in there. Like those all have to go in, and then the O sleeve around the outside. This first release is taking a little longer because we're working with Sony. We want to make sure it's right, but once they have the pattern down, it's going to be a little easier. Versus Nintendo, which Nintendo just does the carts and ships it to our assembling plant, and that's it. And then at that point, it's up to the assembly plant. So it is a little bit different of a process. We do have more PlayStation stuff planned. So I could talk. We do have 2 pre-orders up. We have Phenotopia Awakening, which was one of our Switch games brought into PlayStation. Phenomenal action adventure platforming Zelda 2 style game. Sold out on Switch, so we're happy to bring it to PlayStation. And then we have a brand new game called Music Racer Ultimate, which is a rhythm game that allows you to pick a bunch of different cars that you can unlock, which also includes, and we don't really advertise it much, but it includes Kit from Knight Rider, it includes the Tron bike, it includes the DeLorean from Back to the Future, a bunch of different classic cars and as well as different vehicles. And you get to race. There's I guess it's like 30 songs that are on the disc, but then it also has like 14 different backgrounds, and the courses are actually tailor made to the game, like to the song. Like each song will draw the course as it goes through, and it's like playing Guitar Hero where you're on the fret of the guitar driving on it. But unlike Guitar Hero, if you suck really badly, you don't fail, you just don't get a lot of points.
Oh, it kind of reminds me of Audio Surf.
Yeah, I can see that. So, what's really cool about this game, the PlayStation version specifically, which is why we didn't do it with Nintendo. Nintendo didn't allow this, but with the PlayStation, it's the Ultimate version. On the Switch, it's just the standard. And the difference is the Ultimate version allows you to connect to their server to download a bunch of songs that other people have uploaded. But then, even better, because that's a server, you can actually upload your own music natively through the PlayStation to play. And every song, regardless of what it was, it will draw the track for you. So and there's an unlock progress system where you got points and use those points to unlock new backgrounds, new cars, new colors, all that stuff. So you can play indefinitely because you can just keep uploading all your stuff. And when we saw the difference between the PlayStation and the Switch, we're like, this is a PlayStation for sure. It is so much fun. That would be interesting. I want to see someone race to an audiobook. You will never end. You will just it'll be like a 20-hour race.
Lord of the Rings audiobook edition.
You will get a lot of points. But you can even race with like obstacles if you want obstacles, or you can race with no obstacles at all just to enjoy. Yeah, it's just a ton of fun. The graphics are beautiful, and it has haptic feedback for PS5. So if you're a PS5 gamer, you feel every note. It feels great. And for fun, I actually played it in PSVR 2. It's not VR. It just has the cinema mode. And it was trippy and cool. Like it was so much fun playing Music Racer that way.
That is super cool. Yeah. No, yeah, Music Racer looks great. I think that and it does remind me a bit of Audio Surf, but in a kind of a different way. It's got that kind of same aesthetic, the back and forth. But
and we did announce a third game, which is Rack and Ruin, and we did never put the Rack and Ruin up for pre-order, and there's a reason for that. Despite announcing it, a fan sent us a message and let us know that there was a glitch in the game. It was a bug in the game that only affected the PlayStation version and only affected a trophy. It did not affect the game itself. You could beat the game 100%. It just affected a trophy being triggered. That was the only thing. So it doesn't affect the Switch version that we did release, but we contacted the developers and they're like, we don't want to release a game with a bug. We've seen other companies do that, Gato Roboto and Doom Classic Collection and Bite the Bullet, and I think there's one from Super Rare as well. We see all this stuff happen, and we don't want to be responsible for that. So instead, we're getting ahead of the curve, and we're not even putting it up for pre-order. We're not taking the money until that's taken care of. So we don't have your money. We're not sitting on it. We're not sending you a game that doesn't have the final patch in terms of this, because the game is done. Rack and Ruin's done. But we want to make sure that that trophy is patched so that you can get it. And then once that's done, then we're going to, hey, here it is. Now you can get it in the mega pack right now. That is up. If worst case scenario, something happens and they say we're not fixing it, we're never fixing it, we don't release it. If you did get the mega pack for the PlayStation, we will either exchange it for anything else, you will use a store credit, or we'll refund you the money for that particular game. Not an issue. But that's the only way to get it. We know that's a select people that are just doing the mega pack, and we're not going to actually put it up until it is fixed, and we just want to be ahead of it because we want to make sure people trust the games they get from us are as complete as we can make it. So
I think that speaks on your guys' quality. Even if it's just a glitch that affects a trophy, which is something that arguably is not game breaking, it also tells your consumers that you wouldn't allow something that's game breaking into the release, so that
we're aware of. Well, we didn't know about this until we announced it. If we had known about it, we never would have announced it. It was because we announced it. Someone said, "Oh, are you patching that?" And with PlayStation, they have the challenge cards, but they're different than the Switch versions because the challenge cards are to get the platinum trophy, to get the patch. Yeah. So if you can't get the trophy, you can't get it. It would be impossible, and it'd be like, "Oh man, like that defeats the whole fun of it." So we're like, "No, this has to get patched out." I mean, if we can't be and we decide to go forward anyways, we'll have a caveat like get every trophy but the platinum, and we'll still give it to you. But we're talking to the developers working on something new right now, and they're like, we'll get to it. I'm like, okay, you get to it, but we're waiting.
Nice. Well, one game that you guys announced that was kind of it was a happy surprise for me because I had never heard of this game at all, and I'm so excited for it, is Poglings. And you can speak more on it, but the reason I'm excited for it is because I loved the Chow Garden in Sonic Adventure 2. I spent so many hours in that Chow Garden. Sometimes I would just run around in circles. I don't know. It was great. Doing all the different stuff, raising your chows, feeding them a bunch of crap, giving them like a gorilla and having them just like rub the gorilla into their face and shuck it. I always had a good time with Chow Gardens, and this seems to be kind of a blend of not only the Chow Gardens, but also like just a fun looking adventure game with like farming mechanics and stuff like that. So yeah, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so this is the mastermind game from Chad Tronic, the YouTuber. This has been his baby for several years now, and he's really wanted to get it off the ground, and he's been working behind the scenes with his team to make it happen. And I think it's around 60% done, but they wanted to bring it to Kickstarter to kind of get over the last hurdle and gauge interest and all that. And we've been talking with them about doing a physical, and we're honored to be partnered with them to be doing that physical. So the Kickstarter has just a few days left, and there is an exclusive version for the Kickstarter. We have an exclusive slipcover that's only available through the Kickstarter backers, and that's available right now through a few tiers. And then on top of that, we're doing the plushie that's available there. That's actually from us. So that yellow plushie is also exclusive from the Kickstarter only. When the game is closer to coming out and done, we will have a different version on our webpage, different slipcover. The game cartridge will be the same, but it's just different slipcover. We will also have like a retro edition, and we'll have different color Poglings plushies. So there are Kickstarter exclusive stuff. We want to make sure people that want it will be able to get it. Kickstarter has done extremely well. We're extremely proud of Chad and his team, and we're excited to be working with them. And like you, when I first saw the game and it was presented to us, I loved the Chow Garden and Sonic Adventure 2 battle. I like that one better than Sonic Adventure 1's, and I spent so much time there, just like you. So when I saw this, I said, oh my God, we have to do this. And, we're very happy that we're working together on this. The Kickstarter has well exceeded our expectations. It's over 800% funded last I checked, closing in on 900%. Just extremely, extremely well. And we look forward to continuing that as we get the game done, and then it comes out. And if you like that type of chill game, this is a game for you.
Yeah, that looks like a game I can just kick back on and relax.
So our listeners at home, by the time this episode comes out, the Kickstarter will have completed. It's going to launch because with 7 days to go, it's got $354,000 out of 40. So there's no issues with that. But I'm sure there is going to be some possibly some late backer pledge and stuff like that you could probably tag
That's
into.
possible. That's up to him.
Right.
Like we helped him with the Kickstarter in terms of we helped him set it up, and we gave him ideas, and we worked with him because he hadn't done a Kickstarter before. So we were absolutely part of the Kickstarter process. But outside of helping him set it up and by doing the physical, that's it. The rest of it is all him. Like if he says, "Hey, we're gonna do this, and we want to offer the physical," will you honor those? Of course. The answer is yes, absolutely. We want people to get any game that we put out if we can make it happen. And in this case, that's why we're doing our own version. So if you missed the Kickstarter, you're a variant collector, maybe message Chad and say, hey, is there a chance? But if you don't care about variants, don't worry, we will have a version, and we'll have a retro edition. There was no retro as part of the Kickstarter. So the retro, it will be just like our regular releases. It will have a retro edition to match all the others, and that will be exclusive to our site, and we'll have a new version of that.
It's not like you won't be able to get the game.
No.
Yeah, check out the Kickstarter, and then, of course, you can always just stalk Premium Edition until they put something up.
Yeah, that will most likely be next year because I think he said there's like a year left of development time when we were talking.
Yeah.
So it's a 2024 to 2025 release. I say that because I don't want to rush, and even if he said like, guess what, the game's ready now, like we still have to fit it into our schedule. So we're not going to be like, oh yeah, we're dropping it now. Like no, the next window we could put it up is here. And we also want to make sure like bugs, when a game launches, there's little bugs. We want to make sure that it's good.
But if you watch the Premium Edition directs, you'll be able to
in the State of Premiums.
and the state of premiums, I'm sure you will be told when it comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
Even better, if you listen to Classic Gaming Brothers, I'm sure you'll be told when it comes out because Barry
Yes.
will be back.
As long as you guys will have me, sure.
Now, you alluded to, when you were talking about Rack and Ruin, the challenge cards. Can you remind our listeners about those challenge cards, what exactly they are? Does everyone get one sort of deal? What's the spiel?
So every game that we release comes with its own challenge card. They are inside the case. They are sealed inside, so every game has one. And with Switch, we ask all the developers, hey, task the gamers with a challenge that's fun, that's shareable, that's something you want to see them accomplish. And should you do that challenge that's on the back of the card, post it on social media, tag us, as well as send us an email with the link and all your information, we will send you in the mail a physical patch for your shirt, for your vest, for your jacket, or for you to put inside the game case, because they do fit to complete your game. Every game gets its own patch. It's a physical achievement. It's our way of saying congratulations. And we want people to play the games. We want people to open the games. We want people to enjoy the games. So that's one of our ways of trying to encourage that, because it's fun. It's like an event. Another way we encourage that is we do an unboxing patch, which there is no card for, but if you do an unboxing video and do the same steps, we will send you an unboxing patch, and that is based on each series. So each series of games has their own unboxing patch. So you get one per series. So if you get all the games of the series, you do giant unboxing, you'll get one patch. But it's just our way of saying thank you for supporting us and for showing the world what we do, because it's just about getting our name out there. And this is again an exclusive patch. These are limited. We've noticed, as we bought the first series, we had more patches made because we didn't know, and then we gauged. It's like the second series, we actually made less patches than we had submissions for the series one. So they've come down, and we've kind of found that sweet point now. But they are very limited, the amount of patches made for each game. So it's one of those where if you want to get that, we encourage you to do it as soon as possible. And another fun thing we do, which is again completely free, the patches being mailed out is free. For pre-orders, we also do dog tags. So if you pre-order any of our releases during the pre-order window, we will give you a dog tag in your box for free. It is just a bonus item. It's just one way we want to thank you for supporting us through the pre-order process. And we are also doing first prints now with our pre-orders, because we're looking into doing different slipcovers to differentiate first print versus second print. So if you pre-order, you're guaranteed a first print, and the retros are all going to be first prints. And then after that, we'll do a second print. It'll be a different slipcover, or and we'll change it up. We'll have some fun with it.
The dog tags are really nice quality. I have at least one. They are very, very nice quality. And I actually I have Rain on Your Parade through you guys, as well as I have a few premium edition games, but I have Rain on Your Parade specifically, and I had my wife was playing it, so she just calls it her cloud game, and so she'll just be like, I would like to play the cloud game today.
Aww.
And I'll be like, okay, and so then she'll play the cloud game. She just said there was like a Metal Gear Solid episode.
Yeah.
She's like past that, but yeah, it's fun watching her play it.
Game. No,
Yeah.
There's a Metal Gear Solid, there's a Zelda level, there's a level based on The Office.
We did get to The Office one, yeah. She played it a lot. I think she's probably like at least 40 or 50% in. And for people, she does not play video games, so it's like having a game that she plays is always a win.
Yeah.
And that's one of those where we made sure to get the paid DLC on the card. So that paid DLC is part of it, so you're getting the full game complete and preserved. And that's a good thing to talk about. Like Rain Your Parade is one, Rack and Ruin, two of our Series 4 titles, along with Wonderling DX, are in stock. We have them in stock. They're shipping, and we announced that during the Direct as well. Like, make sure to get those orders in. And we have other titles in stock as well, like Mighty Fight Federation, Pigeon Dev Games Collection, Robot Name Fight Steelbook. I think Cathedral Retro Edition still left. These are going quickly. We want to make sure that if you're just discovering us, you can still go back and grab some of the awesome titles we have in hand. If you want in-hand stuff, I do say keep them as a separate order for pre-orders, though, because we ship orders when everything's in stock. So if you want in-stock stuff, put it as a separate order than the pre-orders, so you can get that stuff now and enjoy it now and work on your challenge patches, and then get the pre-orders and have those ready to go down the future.
Now, of course, you hit the big red button in the video. Tell us a little bit about the special announcement that you guys had.
Yeah, we like to do that one more thing. Just as fans, we always love when presentations have that one more thing. It's like a capstone. It's funny because always trying to write funny ways of doing it. And this time I was like, this time I'm just not writing anything for it. I'm just like people expect it. I'm not gonna waste time. I'm just gonna bring it out there, and it was well received. The game we showed off, which was Anuchard, which is our first game for a Series 7, and this is from Freedom Games. It's an incredible game. This is a Zelda style top down action adventure with a story that is not only gripping, but it's also comedic. It's written in the style of like Mother's story. So it's
Yeah.
got that style of humor, and it's a beautiful graphics, a wonderful music. The music is outstanding. And when we played this game, we were just like, oh my God, we love this game. This game, and none of us had heard of it before. We're like, this, how did we miss this? And we're seeing that again since we revealed it. So many people were like, I have never even heard of this. And one person said, I was just watching a YouTube video, and the top 10 games like Zelda, and Anuchard was the #1 game on that list. And then you go ahead and announce it. And we're like, yeah, we're excited, we're thrilled, and that's coming in the future. We did that as a tease because we always like to do some kind of tease. Not every time going into this series, no one knew anything. Because sometimes we make that one more thing part of the series. We did that with Series 3 with Mighty Fight Federation, and with Series 5 with Eagle Island Twist and Love 3. So this time, yep, we're doing a tease. So you're gonna have to wait to the next series for that one. But it is an incredible title, and we're over the moon to be working with the development team and Freedom Games to bring this out.
It looks
now,
great.
we talked about series being seasons, and we are in the spring going into summer, and the series you just did was spring. Do you feel like there will be a winter series?
So we're planning right now. The tentative plan is for fall. We were thinking about trying to do summer, but we're a small company. We're going slowly, and this summer is very busy for us internally. Our CEO
for a
Jeff,
number of reasons.
Our CEO Jeff is being moved to a new state, and myself, I'm having a child, and one of our editor Dan, who normally does the directs. This was done by internally by Tristan, who did a phenomenal job in the direct. Mad props to him. But he did that because Dan just had a child. Someone else on our team is actually having a child right after me. So we're like, okay,
like babies.
It's a lot of babies. So we're like, all right, let's focus. We're looking to take the summer and focus on, getting our name out there more, letting people know who we are, having people try out the games we have in stock. We have Series 5 titles. We have 4 Series 5 titles coming in soon, and they will be shipping out as well. And then, of course, getting it out in our PlayStation games as well as Series 6. So we want to focus on that, as we don't want to go too quickly that we're just like, oh yeah, here it is, because we did have a little bit of a delay with Series 5 titles, which is some people are like, where's Raji? And I was like, it's coming. That there's been a little bit of a delay, but that should be here soon. The collector's edition of that will be extra delayed. The art book is done. It's on a boat, but it's freight shipping, so that does take, unfortunately, extra months.
Very long.
So that one will ship separately, but we'll have the standards and the retros in sooner. The carts are actually done. They're sitting in our assembly plant. It's literally just waiting on everything else because it's all different suppliers. But we don't want to move too quickly. We want to, we're not, releasing a game every week. We want to go slowly. We want to give the attention. So we're looking to right now internally focus the summer on pushing the Series 5 titles and giving them a second wave, giving attention to the titles that just came out, like Series 4 that are in hand, as well as Super Dungeon Maker and Wife Quest and Bobby 67, give them some attention too, because those are our newest stars, and we really want all the developers and publishers that we work with to feel on equal terms, and that no one's just, thanks for letting us do it, here's the game, pushed aside, next one. We don't want anyone to feel that way.
Now, the real question is, Barry, I know you can't give us specifics. You never can give us specifics, but gotta give us something. Give us a sneak peek if you can. If you can't, that's fine. Whatever. But is there anything you can give us as a little sneak peek?
I mean, obviously, Anuchard, sneak peek.
You said Anuchard is the Series 7 with that?
7,
yep.
yeah.
Series 7.
So it would be ideally if you, as you just mentioned, you're looking towards your fall series. So then Anuchard could be possibly pre-ordered in the fall.
Yes, that I can give you. I don't think we've actually officially said that anywhere, so that is an exclusive for you. I could also say that we're looking at doing each of these presentations is a lot of work. I have a huge respect for Nintendo and anyone else that does these. There's a lot of pieces that have to come together, even with a small company like ourselves, because we want the developers to get involved and get their messages out there and the trailers and all the assets and the recording and then piece it all together. The script has to be written and edited. We were originally planning on doing State of Premium separate from Direct, and I could say that there's a chance, because we're pushing things back to the fall, that the next Direct will be a Direct and State of Premium combo.
Ooh,
Cool.
combo.
So we'll
Nice.
get a lot of stuff in that.
That will be our exclusive, is to keep an eye out for the next Direct.
Yeah, exactly.
So that people can get the best information. I know Barry puts a lot of work into those Directs. He's told me about the long nights he spent just writing those up.
Yeah. Barry, where can people find you if they want to find you, they want to find Premium Edition? Where is the best place for people to go?
Yeah, so for me personally, you can find me on Twitter at Hawk Hellfire. And then in terms of Premium Edition, you can find us at premiumeditiongames.com, where you can pre-order all these games. As well as order the stuff that's in stock right now. There's a mailing list there. You could sign up. It's at the bottom. I encourage you to do that. And you get all the information right to your inbox. And then you could find us on Twitter at Premium Edition 1. You could find us on all other social media platforms as Premium Edition Games. And you could find YouTube. We're there as well, Premium Edition Games. And Twitch. Frank from our team does every Wednesday night. Ironically, he's doing it right now, or just finished right now. From the time of this recording, every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., he goes live playing games, and go give him some love and tell him that you heard about it from the Classic Gaming Brothers.
That's right.
That's right.
So yeah, so you can definitely find all that information there. And worst case scenario, you send us an email at support, and we'll help you out.
Anyway, with that, I want to thank Barry again for joining us for another classic episode of Premium Edition Lounge. And if anyone needs to find us, we're at classicgamingbrothers.com, or you can email us at classicgamingbrothers@gmail.com. On Facebook, Instagram, we're Classic Gaming Brothers. On Twitter, we're CG Brothers Pod. We have a Twitch account that we barely use. It's Classic Gaming Brothers. With that, though, Seth, do you have anything you want to add?
Don't play games like my brother.
And don't play games like my brother.
And don't play games like me.
I've been Zach.
I've been Seth.
And I've been Barry.
We've been the Classic Gaming Brothers and Barry,
Barry.
with the Premium Edition Lounge.
That's
That's right.
right.